Tourism, Abu Dhabi. And let me start by saying how happy we are to be hosting our very first MENA event program here in this wonderful city and region. The launch of Middle East and North Africa's 50 Best Restaurants has been a highly anticipated endeavor, as this marks the first time since 2013 that 50 Best unveils a new regional restaurants list and awards program. So this is hugely exciting for us at 50 Best and for the MENA region. Equally, Abu Dhabi has been establishing itself as a culinary force for quite some time, which makes it even more special that we are hosting the inaugural edition in this great city. I am joined today by 4 important individuals on stage here. So let me introduce them, and then I'll let you know how this afternoon's proceedings will run. Our 4 speakers and panelists are William Drew, Director of Content for 50 Best, part of William Reed, the company that owns and runs Middle East and North Africa's 50 Best Restaurants brand and awards. We are also delighted to be joined by Fatima Al-Baroushi, Acting Head of Events for DCT Abu Dhabi. And next to her, an individual from the global chef community, Joan Roca, the chef owner of El Cellar de Can Roca in Spain, formerly #1 on the world's 50 Best Restaurants list, and now therefore part of the elite Best of the Best group. We are honored to have you join us. We also welcome Sahar Farhan Alawadi, a renowned Emirati chef from the UAE, representing the local hospitality sector. Thank you for being here, Sahar. William, Fatima, Joan, and Sahar will each say a few words from the lecture. I'll then open up questions to the floor. So, this is your opportunity to ask anything about 50 Best, about our host destination, our plans, how the voting works, and so forth. But, just to be clear, we will not be revealing anything about the contents of the list being announced tomorrow evening, so please do not ask. Please feel free to share proceedings on your chosen social channels using the hashtag MENAS50Best. Without further delay, please welcome to the lectern Mr. William Drew, Director of Content for 50 Best.
Thank you, Erica. And on behalf of William Reed and Middle East and North Africa's 50 Best Restaurants, I would like to reiterate how delighted we are to be here in Abu Dhabi in the UAE. For many of you, this is likely to be the first time you're attending a 50 Best press conference. So allow me to tell you briefly a bit about our organisation. 50 Best is ultimately about celebrating great restaurants, bringing together communities across the hospitality sector to foster collaboration, inclusivity, diversity and discovery, and helping promote positive change. It is also focused on helping drive customers into restaurants themselves, which is certainly something the hospitality sector has needed in recent and very challenging times. The world's 50 Best Restaurants, which began life 20 years ago in 2002, has earned its legitimacy by providing guidance to gourmets, inspiring diners to travel and explore restaurants, unveiling up-and-coming chefs and culinary trends, and showcasing the nuances and complexities of various cuisines from around the world. Now, since its inception, 50 Best has aimed to leave a positive legacy that inspires the local gastronomic community and builds relationships and connections through food. We hope those of you who have already attended the masterclasses and the first MENA edition of 50 Best Talks have found that to be the case. Many of our events have also been open to the public, and we have integrated visiting chefs from all around the world, including Pia Leon from Peru, Tim Rao from Germany, and Natsuko Shoki from Japan, among others, into the proceedings. Now we're going to show a short video which helps express some of 50 Best's aims and values. success of Asia's 50 Best Restaurants and Latin America's 50 Best Restaurants, both launched back in 2013, we have felt for some years that we should be shining a brighter spotlight on another region that perhaps has not had the global culinary recognition it deserves, namely the Middle East and North Africa. We believe it's high time to celebrate the diversity, the range of ingredients, spices, traditions, techniques, influences and talent prevalent across this expansive region. And for those of you visiting from near or far, we're sure you will get to experience a taste of this during your time here. And why Abu Dhabi? Over the last decade or more, the UAE capital has attracted major international chefs to open high-profile restaurants, which has in turn led to the more recent rise of homegrown talent, now gradually coming to the fore. Abu Dhabi has the infrastructure and the desire to host our event programme and became a clear choice as the destination for the inaugural edition of MENA's 50 Best. Our 50 Best events will come to a crescendo tomorrow evening when we host Middle East and North Africa's 50 Best Restaurants Awards 2022, sponsored by San Pellegrino and Aquapana for the very first time. We are proud to welcome chefs from right across the Middle East and North Africa. We believe that more than 90% of the restaurants on the 50 Best list will be represented in person at the awards. No mean feat given the ongoing travel restrictions in some of the 19 countries across the region. Hopefully that's a testament to the appeal of these awards and the events around them, but it's also reflective of the determination of the gastronomic sector to keep moving forward positively. And a quick reminder to you all of how the list of MENA's 50 Best Restaurants is created. You'll hear me say this again tomorrow evening too, I'm sure, but it's a question we get asked a lot, so it's important that we're all clear on it. We asked 250 experts from across 19 countries in the MENA region, each to select their best restaurant experiences over the period in question. These voters are variously chefs and restaurateurs themselves. Naturally, they're not allowed to vote for their own places. They're food writers and broadcasters and other well-travelled gourmets related to the field of gastronomy. They are selected by our 6 Academy chairs in the region and verified by 50 Best, and they must remain anonymous. We do not tell them where to go, where to eat. We do not give them specific criteria. They simply vote based on their own experiences, and their collective choices then create the list. Restaurants cannot therefore apply to be on the list, and they do not know their ranking in advance of tomorrow evening. None of our sponsors are involved in the voting or have any influence on or prior knowledge of the list. But talking of our sponsors, thanks once again from our point of view to our host destination partner, DCT Abu Dhabi, to our main sponsor, San Pellegrino and Aquapana, and to our other partners, both old and new. We very much appreciate your support in this exciting new endeavour. So we hope that you all enjoy the award ceremony tomorrow night, as well as the culinary delights here in Abu Dhabi. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Will. To reiterate, we will take questions once we've heard from all the speakers, rather than after each one. Everyone can hold on to their questions. We are going to play a short video from GCT Abu Dhabi now, and also it is now my honor to introduce the acting head of events, the Department of Culture and Tourism, Abu Dhabi, Fatima Al-Malouchi.
The story of Abu Dhabi is beautiful and endless like the desert. It starts with the simplest of food and ancient local traditions, which, through the passage of time, has become an extraordinary mix of countless flavors, influenced by welcome travelers and rich cultural diversities. It is much more than the unique primary elements. It is also the fusion, the creativity, the vision, and the passion. It is a place that takes you on a journey to travel the world through culinary sensations and that simple human desire to connect with the sea, the history, the city, with joy and with ourselves. Abu Dhabi is where mystery and adventure awaits, where stories are told through unforgettable experiences and the company of friends, where inspiration can be found in the past and the future could be. Welcome to Abu Dhabi, where cuisines and cultures combine.
Marhaba, assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Abu Dhabi. Thank you all for joining us here today for what has been an exciting few days. Here in Abu Dhabi, we know and understand the power that food holds in every community. And we remain passionate about serving the best and the most authentic food from every part of the world to our visitors and residents. In Abu Dhabi, where more than 200 nationalities live, its diversity have been represented in the wide range of cuisines and flavors found across the Emirates. It is no wonder that Abu Dhabi is fast becoming the destination for discovering unique, experiential, and world-class dining offerings in the region. Hosting the amazing Middle East and North Africa 50 Best Restaurant event program is a proud moment for us in the Department of Culture and Tourism Abu Dhabi, as we continue to create year-round food and beverage-inspired events for our visitors and residents. This also includes the ongoing 50 Best Week Abu Dhabi, a culinary festival that features experiential dining experiences, cooking masterclasses, and unique collaboration dinners filled with so many mouth-watering moments to enjoy. 50 Best Week Abu Dhabi is truly a must-do culinary adventure. And most importantly, being here in the company of top culinary minds today is a testament to Abu Dhabi's continuous drive to celebrate extraordinary chefs and restaurants, as well as our trend-setting Emirati men and women who have curated great dining experiences. While we count down the award gala dinner tomorrow, I'd like to congratulate everyone who has successfully contributed to the elevating the region culinary scene, and we hope you continue to create more mouth-watering magic to whet our appetite. And I'd also like to express my gratitude to 50 Best, the Academy Chairs, San Pellegrino and Aquapana for shining a much-deserved spotlight on the region's dynamic dining scene. Once again, thank you everyone, and hope you all enjoy Abu Dhabi, and see you again, inshallah, next year too. Thank you.
Now, let's hear from a legend of the culinary world. His restaurant, El Cellar de Can Roca, in Girona, Spain, is run by him and his two brothers. It was twice named the world's best restaurant in 2013 and 2015, and has now been elevated into the best of the best Hall of Fame for those establishments that have topped the global list. It continues to be an extraordinary and groundbreaking restaurant. I would like to introduce my colleague, Julia Scarby, from 50 Best, who will assist with translation. Please welcome as well co-owner and head chef, Joan Roca.
I'm very happy to be here. My English is bad, sorry, excuse me. I'm Julia, thank you. Bueno, es un honor realmente estar aquí y dar soporte a 50 Best. Para mí es realmente importante poder contribuir a fortalecer Okay. Spanish call. Okay. Bueno, decía que para mí es un honor estar aquí y dar soporte a 50 Best, que es una lista en la que estamos desde hace muchos años.
It is an honor to be here and to support 50 Best, a list in which Sajjada Roca has been voted there for several years.
Esta lista cambió la historia de un pequeño restaurante como el señor de Can Roca hace unos años.
This list has changed the story of a small restaurant like Sajjada Roca is since a few years ago.
Somos un pequeño restaurante familiar, tercera generación y 3 hermanos trabajando juntos desde hace 35 años.
It is a small family-run restaurant run by 3 brothers, the 3rd generation in the family, who work together every day.
Origen humilde, trabajo fuerte, constante, con los pies en el suelo, pero con ganas de soñar y de pensar en grande.
It's hard work, keeping our feet on the ground, but at the same time with the will to dream and dream big.
Por eso es tan importante que una lista como 50 Best exista y pueda dar visibilidad a proyectos que están creados desde la pasión y desde el compromiso con la excelencia.
That is why it is important that lists like 50 Best exist to give visibility to small projects like this created by passion and consistency.
Nosotros nunca habíamos soñado poder tener este reconocimiento y un día llegó, pero no tanto por el hecho de haber llegado al número 1, sino yo creo que lo importante de la lista es estar presente en ella, participar de la visibilidad que proyecta los 50 mejores restaurantes del mundo. El éxito es estar en esta lista. Si además podemos llegar arriba, fantástico, pero estar es importante.
We never dreamed we would be able to get such recognition, and that's not even being number 1, but just being part of the list. To just be voted in the 50 is the biggest recognition, and it's what we dream of.
Cuando fuimos número 1 por primera vez, en el año 13, se colapsó nuestro sistema de reservas y sigue colapsado 9 años después. Realmente cambió la historia del señor de Can Roca.
When we first reached number 1 in 2013, our reservation system collapsed, and 8 to 9 years later, it still struggles. So it really changed the story of our restaurant.
Así que estaremos siempre agradecidos a esta lista porque ha influido en nuestra historia, obviamente, pero también porque es una lista que se toma muy en serio su cometido.
So we will always be grateful for this list, for what we just talked about, but also because it is a list that takes itself seriously and its commitment to the community seriously.
Conozco a muchos chairmans de diferentes países y regiones. Son gente muy comprometida, muy seria, muy honesta, que buscan el talento y quieren darle visibilidad. Por eso estoy aquí. Estoy aquí porque creo en esta lista y en el trabajo que está haciendo y que está haciendo toda la comunidad que trabaja con 50 Best.
I know many of the Academy chairs from different regions of the world, and they're very committed, serious people and honest, and they want to find the best places to eat, and they're very serious in their mission to do this.
Creo que es muy importante también que 50 Best ponga el foco en diferentes regiones del mundo. Está muy bien que se ponga el foco aquí, en esta región que está creciendo, es efervescente.
I think it's great that 50 Best is focusing on new regions as well, and especially on this region which is growing and becoming better every day.
También es muy importante la labor que hace 50 Best con los jóvenes talentos a los que da visibilidad cada año, con las becas, con los premios.
It is also important the work that 50 Best does with young people every year with the scholarship and other awards.
En fin, yo solo tengo palabras de agradecimiento. Me tenéis a vuestra disposición para lo que pueda ser útil. Gracias a todos que estáis aquí por estar aquí y nos vemos pronto. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Julia and Joan. It is now my honor to introduce an inspiration for many Emirati chefs and restaurateurs. She is here as a representative of the local F&B sector. Formerly head pastry chef at the iconic Burj Al Arab in Dubai, she is a rising star of Middle Eastern gastronomy. Sahar Farhan Al.
Thank you everyone for being here and thanks for having me. It's a real honor to have 50 Best MENA enter our market here and above all hosted in Abu Dhabi, my home country and capital. With 50 Best being around the world in Asia and Europe, it's amazing to see that the final connecting piece of the Silk Route is being shone on this year. And the UAE and neighboring countries' cuisine is so unique that the culture allows for a lot of diversity. We grew up here in the UAE experiencing so many different cultures from around the world, but it's amazing to finally come into this place where our ingredients are being highlighted and our landscape is being highlighted and our agriculture is being highlighted. With that, sorry, I'm just taking a look at my notes. I look forward to seeing all of that evolving in the next couple of years. We've seen our ingredients actually travel the world and coming back and seeing them highlighted in their home spaces or in different settings that you're normally used to is going to be a real experience for everyone to come and enjoy. And we're building a new narrative for the region that's going to really showcase talent, ingredients, cuisine, and culture from the UAE. It's a unique, diverse dynamic, and it means a lot to be from the UAE, not just Emirati. As I said, it's a multi-dimensional, multicultural country. And the Emiratiness is at the heart of it. The hospitality and the Emiratiness is at the heart of it. So I look forward to seeing more and more of these awards being highlighted. Thank you.
Thank you, Sahar. We will now take questions from the audience. There will be people roaming around with microphones. If you could raise your hand if you have a question. You could also state who you would like to direct your question to, if there's a specific person, or we will direct the question to the relevant person. Does anyone have a question to start with? Okay, we've got about 3 down here.
Hi, my name is Derek. I'm the editor of Yalla Abu Dhabi Life magazine. So we're based here. I'm really pleased. I'm absolutely excited that this has come to Abu Dhabi because I've been in the Middle East for 25 years and I know what the food is like in Lebanon, which is where I was living. And then I came over to UAE 3 years ago where I was inundated with a whole palette of international food, which you don't always get in Lebanon, it's just Lebanese. So here, as you've been saying, it's multicultural, and you get all different types of food. Emiratis, I'm new for Emirati, I do Saudi food, and things like that. But we are a Abu Dhabi-based publication. So Fatima, this question is for you, basically. We follow your vision of what you have for Abu Dhabi. We put Abu Dhabi as a destination like you do as well. We believe in it. And we're really excited. You've had lots going on in Abu Dhabi for the last 2 years, from Yas Island, Mamsha, you've done yourself loads of culinary initiatives over the last few years, many of them held here, many of them held in different restaurants, and we've been part of that, and we've loved every minute. I mean, what does this mean to Abu Dhabi as a tourist destination?
Well, thank you so much. I want to start by saying, Abu Dhabi has always been ambitious to become a hub for every sector. We've seen that with sport entertainment heavily, and culinary sector is the upcoming growing for the destination. So with the active culinary campaigns that is being activated for the past 3 years, that were part of the stimulus fund that was generated to increase the leisure offerings of the destination. And of course, as you said, it fits well in Abu Dhabi because it is naturally the home of 200 different nationalities, which allows that diversity and that different offering. And of course, we have multiple programs upcoming dedicated specifically to the culinary scene. We have an amazing team here in the room. I want to acknowledge them: Julian, Oliveira, Xavier, and Radwan. Please do connect with them. They have more information about all the amazing upcoming programs that are dedicated towards activating the culinary scene in the Emirates of Abu Dhabi.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. May I ask one more question while I've got the mic? See if I have to come back. I wanted to speak to Saha. Thank you. You are an Emirati. So you did just talk about how food, or Emirati food, generally is going to evolve. Can you elaborate on that, please?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I say this often now. We're very privileged. We're at a point in time where we still have access to our mothers and our grandmothers' knowledge of traditional cooking and techniques. And that within Emirati culture is very specific with certain ingredients, and then the techniques are very highlighted towards fermentation and preservation. But our advantage is that we're at this point where we have that knowledge that we can tap into, but we also have the talent and all of the resources that we can evolve it. So in situations where, for example, French pastry evolved at the time or had a renaissance with Gaston Lenôtre, we also have this opportunity right now with that information and with our resources to start developing Emirati cuisine in the way that we'd like to see it moving forward, in a more modern approach, possibly highlighting ingredients in different ways that perhaps we didn't do before, and having it be more either, refined or approachable, or any way that we'd like it. So we're in a very sweet spot right now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm Samantha, I'm the food writer behind Foodiva. I have a question for you, John. When you first became #1 in 2013, you mentioned your reservation systems were around, which we know from a lot of #1 and high-ranking restaurants. Can you please put a figure to that, even if it's percentages, whether that's revenue or reservations, by how much were they boosted when you got the #1 spot first time around?
No lo sé exactamente, los ingresos no lo sé, pero las reservas, sí tenemos contabilizado que se produjeron 2 millones de visitas en 24 horas a la web.
He doesn't know exactly the numbers, but he does remember that in 24 hours their website got 2 million hits.
Éramos un restaurante poco conocido en el mundo y 50 Best nos dio mucha visibilidad, por lo tanto mucha gente quiso saber quiénes eran los hermanos Roca.
We weren't a very well-known restaurant around the world, so that night a lot of people wanted to find out who the Roca brothers were.
Desde entonces, el restaurante da reservas a 11 meses vista. Cada primer día del mes abrimos reservas para dentro de 11 meses.
Since then, the restaurant opened reservations at the beginning of every month for the next 12.
Y sigues.
And that's how we see this to this day.
Thank you.
There's another question down here.
Hi, hello. What a pleasure to have you all here, and what a pleasure it is to be finally happening in our region. My name is Claudia, I'm the Health Academy Chair. My question is for Sahar. Sahar, we're also incredibly proud of you. As an Emirati woman, you're a pioneer in your field in so many ways. I wanted to ask you, do you feel that it's becoming easier for Emiratis and Emirati women in particular to break into the culinary industry? Absolutely. I feel like that the culture and the support system around the UAE, if I want to speak specifically about Emirati families, is becoming a lot more inviting to unconventional jobs or careers. When I started about 8 years ago, it was still very taboo, and it was very, still not very widely accepted. So I actually went into working in kitchens, having to convince my parents that I would only do for a year. And that was after I had already been speaking to them for a while, saying, this is what I want to do. It's very unfamiliar, but with restaurants becoming more prominent here, we're getting a lot of chefs opening homegrown businesses in the UAE, branching out into the UAE. It's becoming, the culinary scene is really evolving, and everybody's adapting to the evolution of it. So definitely it's becoming easier, and then having people, pushing the boundaries of going into unconventional jobs or going into culinary jobs opens the door for everybody else also. So it's just a matter of paying it forward and making sure that you make it easier for the people that are also trying to follow the same path. Thank you for allowing me to place.
Question back there.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. سؤالي للأستاذة فاطمة. أنا خالد مستشفى سابق السعودية، وسؤال يتركز في الشقين. الأول، ما مدى التأثير الإيجابي لهذه الفعاليات الضخمة في أبو ظبي على دول مجلس التعاون الخليجي، سواء كان السعودية رقم واحد أو بقية دول المجلس. الشق الثاني هو هل سنشهد في النسخة القادمة عدد أكبر أو مطاعم أو يعني براندات أكثر من هذه النسخة الموجودة حاليا في 2022؟ شكرا.
I'll answer in Arabic and in English. I think the second question may be more for you, because he's asking if there will be more restaurants participating in the next second edition. So I'll leave that to the team 50 Best to kind of advise on that. But in your first question about, what does this mean to Abu Dhabi and to the neighboring countries, the GCC and the MENA region, يعني أبو ظبي كانت دائما سباقة في إنها تحتضن كل المواهب في الوطن العربي بشكل عام. والإمارات بشكل عام كانت دوما وجهة مثالية لكثير من الخبرات العربية الموجودة. فاليوم احتفائنا بالمشهد اللي يختص بعالم المطاعم والمأكولات بكل تأكيد يعني راح يأثر إيجابي بأنه يحتفي بكل هذا التنوع اللي موجود أصلا في المنطقة بشكل عام. وأن أبو ظبي تكون السباقة والحضن الأول لهذا الاحتفال يعتبر يعني بداية جميلة، وأكيد راح تثري المشهد وبتشوف أكثر من سحر يعني في المشهد. So my answer to you is that celebrating the culinary scene from Abu Dhabi and celebrating the whole MENA region culinary scene is a positive for the industry and to develop more talents and more sahas to be emerging through a lot of these events that we're the legacy we aim to create from Abu Dhabi.
So in answer to the second question, yes, it's important that we understand that all the restaurants across the whole of the MENA region, so all 19 countries, any restaurant is eligible to be part of MENA's 50 Best Restaurants list. So although we only name 50, any restaurant of any type, as long as it's open and we class it as a restaurant, then it could be super casual, low-key place, or a super high-end, more expensive place. There's no criteria. So any restaurant can be part of the list. Just if it attracts voters, and the voters vote for it, then the field is wide open. So while we will continue to name 50 best restaurants in MENA for many years, the list will always change and develop, and new and different restaurants from different countries across the region will be part of that.
Okay. And I'm translating. No worries. اللي هو يقول ان يعني قائمة ال50 تتطور كل سنة، بالتالي في كل نسخة من الجوائز راح تضاف اسماء جديدة للقائمة. فكرة انها 50 مطعم لا تعني بالضرورة عدم مشاركة كافة المطاعم، بالعكس كل المطاعم الموجودة في المنطقة العربية تشارك في هذه الجوائز، ويتم تصفيتها إلى أفضل 50 مطعم.
Any other questions?
Hello everybody, can you hear me? Yeah, I'm taking a mask, so I come from Italy. First of all, I'd love to congratulate for what you do, because none of the 19 countries, if I'm not wrong, included in the MENA family, are not judged by a Michelin guide, so it's important to give a word, like attention to these 9 countries. This is important. And I just have a curiosity, will there ever be a space for a new rankings on concerning like the other countries of Africa until South Africa? Do you have this hypothesis? I know it's too early to talk, but still, it would be great to know that. Thank you.
Yeah. The answer is yes. I mean, it's possible for us to do new lists in the future. We have no specific plans for a new regional restaurants list right now, but never say never. So the obvious area that is not currently covered, that is relatively undiscovered, is of course the rest of Africa. So in the future, who knows, that remains a possibility, but we don't have any time scale on that currently. We're focusing on MENA right now.
Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Hello everyone. This is Dr. Aziz from FoodX. First of all, we are pleased and honored to be here with such an elite people that is experienced in our main industry, that is serving our own clients. My question maybe goes for the chefs, so maybe I will need a translation, please. The question is, where do you see the future of food in general and food experience in specific? And how do you think technology might facilitate and help restaurant owners or business owners to increase and scale their own businesses? Thank you.
Es un momento especial, ¿no? para la gastronomía en general, sobre todo después de estos tiempos que hemos vivido tan inciertos, ¿no? con la pandemia. Yo creo que ha cambiado un poco a todos, nos ha cambiado a todos un poco la mentalidad.
This is
is a very special moment for gastronomy, especially after the uncertain times that we've been through the last 2 years, which have changed people's ideas quite a lot.
Creo que hay una mirada mucho más intencionada hacia la tierra, hacia el producto, hacia el pequeño productor, hacia la autenticidad.
We are looking much more intentionally towards product, towards Mother Earth, and towards the small producers who are creating these ingredients.
Una mirada mucho más respetuosa hacia la sostenibilidad.
We are looking with a lot of respect towards sustainability.
Y obviamente no olvidamos ni dejamos atrás la tecnología, porque está presente, será importante igualmente.
But we don't forget and we don't leave behind technology, which is always present and is always important.
Hemos vivido varias revoluciones. Hemos vivido la revolución tecnológica, la revolución del producto, y ahora estamos en la revolución humanista.
We have been through various revolutions already, first the technological, then the product revolution, and now we're going through a humanistic revolution.
Creo que es la mirada humanista la que ahora todos los chefs estamos de alguna manera teniendo en cuenta. Creo que la filosofía culinaria va hacia esa mirada de respeto, de búsqueda de las culturas locales, de los productores locales.
It is this humanistic vision that I think the food scene is going towards these realities of people and producers who are local to the area.
Sí. Y de alguna manera también poner a las personas en el centro de todo, ¿no? De la experiencia, no solo al cliente, sino también a las personas que trabajamos en este sector. También es muy importante.
And I think it's also very important to put people at the center of the experience, not just the customers, but also the people in the background in the industry who work in this industry.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with Chef on everything that he's saying. Specifically with the pandemic, we've seen a real diversion of using more local and homegrown products, things that are produced within your vicinity, within, if not your country, within your neighboring countries. And we're diverting away from traveling so much for our food, and we're traveling for our food and not our food travel to us. So versus having everything imported, if you want to eat something that's specific to your region, you should develop a more nomadic lifestyle of traveling to your food instead. And of course, this also falls in line with what Chef was saying about sustainability and being more aware of biodiversity. In terms of technology, that is really important. For example, in the UAE, it's common to say that not a lot of things grow, but it's not true. There are a lot of farms that are growing or cultivating many different things. And then specifically with Food Tech Valley coming around and biodomes coming around, where you can mimic environments, where you can grow anything that you like, we're going to see less and less need of importing things from other countries and growing more things that we eat or what we need or what we'll use in our cuisine that'll be the center and the focus of what we're cooking or what we're eating. I know there's a huge wave of lab-grown ingredients, precision fermentation. There's a bit of back and forth on that, on whether or not people are for or against it. Environmentally, it makes sense for us with, for example, meat or dairy or things like that are just harmful for the environment, or we're not supposed to be eating as much. So being conscious about what you're eating is also becoming really important.
we'll go back as soon as one from us, please.
Hello, my name is Dhabi. I'm from India. I write for the Hindu. So thanks a lot for having me here. It's a wonderful event. My question is probably to William, and it sort of takes off from what the chefs just spoke about. So how does the 50 Best team sort of uphold this concept of sustainability in the food industry, in gastronomy in particular? And what are the steps that you have taken to sort of factor in that aspect?
I mean, I guess there are two things. We try and we have a Sustainable Restaurant Award, which is increasingly important and increasingly high profile, which all the restaurants on the list can be part of. And they're invited to work with our sustainability partner, the Sustainable Restaurant Association, who will do an audit and effectively a consultancy on those restaurants to audit how sustainable they all are. It's not just to who will win that very important award each year, but even those that are not winning it, they benefit from having that conversation with the sustainability experts and learning and improving their various practices. And that's sustainability in the widest sense, not just in terms of the environment and waste, but also in terms of what they're doing, how they're managing their team, what they put into their community. So the human sustainability as well as environmental sustainability. So that's increasingly important, and more restaurants are engaging in that process that are part of our list. And in the wider sense, I think our voters do that, looking at sustainable elements more and more themselves. They do that for us because the world, including of course the food experts that make up our voting academy, are much more aware of and interested in, and therefore judging a restaurant not only on the food, the service, but also where they can on what they believe that restaurant is standing for and the practices behind it. So, as with everything with our list, we are reliant on our voters. We take that process very important. The selection of those voters is really important for us, and we trust in their ability to seek out what's new and exciting, but also what's sustainable, and restaurants that are doing the right thing.
Okay. Another question here in the front.
Hi everyone, my name is Mary Charlotte Rosignol, and I'm in charge of the marketing for Valrhona for the IMEA region. We are very proud to be one of the sponsors, and obviously talking about sustainability, as you may know, we are one of the main actors in the industry, and we work towards a gastronomy that is sustainable, fair, and we are working as well, actively with all the actors of the industry, chocolate and the gastronomy in general. I would like to, ask a question to Sahar. What interests me is, your choice in terms of partner. You're talking about sustainability, about, choosing more homegrown products. However, as you may know, chocolate, cannot be grown everywhere. And not only chocolate, but probably also, a lot of other products that you might need in your kitchen. So what interests me is, to know what for you are the main criteria when you choose your partner, when you choose your food, basically, the food that you will cook to your guests.
Yeah, absolutely, you're right. Not everything grows here, not everything's produced here, so, and again, not everything that's produced locally means that it falls in line with the same philosophy. So for me, it's important for somebody to be environmentally conscious, to be ethical, to be sustainable, to follow in the same philosophy as I do. And if I find that locally, then that's amazing, because I can partner with people who are in the same mindset, and we can work towards the same goals, even if it's in different spectrums. And that applies the same thing applies with anybody that we work with, or that I work with, or brands that I work with internationally. We have to all follow the same philosophy to make sure that results that we're both having in mind, whether it's chocolate, whether it's cream, whether it's butter, whoever it is. I would love to work with people who are passionate about one ingredient, making the best butter that you've been making for years because you are absolutely and incredibly passionate about that, and that applies sort of towards everything, because I want that to resonate in what I make, and I want that to resonate in the food that I produce, because what I produce, what I envision for what I produce is I'd like for them to be experiences. So when you have a bite of my dessert, it's always an experience that you're going through. It's not just a tart or a millefeuille or a cider or a rangina. It's an experience that you go through, and I want you to understand your ingredients. I want you to appreciate them, and I want to highlight them in the best way that I can. I want you to understand me in that dessert and where I come from and the culture or your surrounding, or it could be a part of nostalgia. It could be part of, like I mentioned, there's so many, and Fatma mentioned as well, there's so many different nationalities living in the UAE, and that's part of the culture of the UAE, and I want you to, that could come across as well. So that also all ties in together to make sure that one dessert that you're eating, you've experienced something, and I'm happy to give you that experience.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are just now out of time. First, I'd like to thank our amazing speakers today. We look forward to you all joining us tomorrow evening. It will certainly be an exciting event right here at Conrad, Abu Dhabi, and Jihad Towers, where we will host the first ever Middle East and North Africa's 50 Best Restaurant Awards 2022, sponsored by Sam Pellegrino and Afrofana. We absolutely can't wait. On behalf of 50 Best and Abu Dhabi, thank you for being here, and thank you to all those of you who have come from different parts of the world. We appreciate it has not been easy to travel during these times, so we are very grateful